I believe the children are our future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. Show them all the beauty they possess inside. Give them a sense of pride to make it easier. Let the children's laughter remind us how we used to be. Everybody's searching for a hero. People need someone to look up to. I never found anyone to fulfill my needs. A lonely place to be. So I learned to depend on me. I decided long ago never to walk in anyone's shadow. If I fail, if I succeed, at least I live as I believe. No matter what they take from me, they can't take away my dignity. Because the greatest love of all is happening to me. I found the greatest love of all inside of me. The greatest love of all is easy to achieve. Learning to love yourself is the greatest love of all. Greetings, everybody. I've been talking and saying some beautiful stuff. Unfortunately, you guys didn't hear a word that I said. I said I will be joining you on camera in a moment. But for right now, let me take this moment and say hello to everyone. I did my greetings, but nobody heard them. So let's go over again. Madria, Asator, Fantastic Trill TV, Regina M, Ryan Road, FRW. Greetings, So Alicia. I'm so glad you guys are here. And what I was sharing with you all, believe it or not, ever since the month of April, it seems that we have some type of rainstorm every Sunday and every Wednesday. So I guess that's the christening of the show. And I'm going to take that as a beautiful thing. Let me join you guys so you'll see who you're talking to. Hello, everyone. As you know, this is the voice of Cheryl, and I am Toothless Tiger. Every time I think I'm well prepared, Nothing goes the way you plan it. So it's good to just live life and be excited about it. It doesn't always go exactly right. You make these plans and you can tick them off one at a time, but it is what it is. And I'm all right with that. Oh, it's raining there too? Well, I mean, we had a rumble in the skies around 5, I'll say around 5-ish. And I honestly thought someone was really playing at the bowling alley, that they were having a tournament. The rumbling just seemed to never end. And it was due a pause as if they were changing players to come up to the line. But be that as it may, that's what it is. The title of this show is A Woman is a Full Circle. I'll be coming from some of the teachings and the learnings that I've learned under the Moorish Science Temple, R.V. Bey, Taj Tariq Bey, and authors of a couple of books. I really have to kind of stay on this matriarch, motherly thing, because as we know, our communities are in disarray. If you look at the news, and I don't actually look at the news channels anymore because I don't have access to the local channels. I just have actually, I do the YouTube, and then I have those other channels that you get like Prime and stuff like that. But I look at YouTube a lot, and you see a lot of domestic violence going on right now. A lot of women are coming up, dead. You see mothers losing it and abusing their children or each other, sisters and daughters, and, actually killing grandparents. So it's so much going on, and we can't put our hands on one particular thing that causes this type of confusion. Then you come to the place that you say you go for entertainment, and then you have women abusing women in their speech. Oh, welcome, Lord King. Welcome. All the way from Philly. Welcome. Then you find women abusing women, and then you find men using women. And somehow we can't seem to get ourselves out of the quagmire that we find ourselves in. As everybody knows, when I came to YouTube, I came to share my life experiences, and the things I learned on the way of trying to find out who we were before we were slaves. I've never gotten off that path, although I've had to deal with issues that pertain to me that people would try to draw me into. And I only speak as to not acquiesce. I don't play the back and forth and the beefing game. I have some beautiful pictures of some beef that I had on yesterday. I went to Benihana's and I had a beautiful filet mignon that was medium rare, and I did the triple. I really kind of lost it yesterday. Normally when I go to Benihana's, my son takes me and he pays, and he just tell me to order what I want. Had no idea until yesterday what order whatever you want means off of a menu, until they brought me my ticket. And it was more than I could ever imagine. I was ready to go wash dishes, but of course they wasn't having that. So I had to pull out the money and pay for it. But I had a beautiful time with beautiful people. I got to meet one of the most beautiful and elegant ladies of YouTube, and we'll keep the name anonymous, but we had a beautiful, beautiful lunch with my sister and a friend of mine, and we laughed and just, talked about life in general, being women, being mothers, contributing in some type of way to others. And that's what I came here to do, and that's what I wanted to do. I can talk with the best of them. I can get down low, keep it on. I can talk as low as anybody. but I choose to keep it in a place where we're building and not destroying. We have enough destruction. And as I remind all of you of Dr. Frances Cress Welsing and the Welsing theory, and she taught us that she studied medicine. She seen how they treated us in psychology or psychiatry, however you want to phrase it, but she did not understand, or I should say understand or overstand the power behind it. Not until she was invited to, it was an outing, and she generally didn't go to outings, but someone said, I think you need to go to this one. And she went to the outing, and she heard a man there, and his name is Mr. Neely Fuller. And he explained, if you don't understand white supremacy and all that it entails in the 9 areas of life, then everything you think you know may confuse you. And those 9 areas are education. Well, let's start. If you do it alphabetically, like he does, then you can remember it. So it's economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, and war. So Dr. Francis said they were fighting for genetic survival. They believe that Asiatic male, you have weapon between your legs that can destroy me. So therefore I must create weapon, which is, Smith, Wesson, whoever you want to call it, to destroy you. And that's where the innate fear comes from. You know how you see stories and you hear stories and they say, but we're afraid of you. We're afraid of you. We never really knew where the fear came from when you just woke, you may have just walked up and said hi. And you're afraid of hello or hi or greetings, grand rising. That caused you to fear me? No, it has to be something deeper than that. So when you marry the Francis Welsing theory with Neely Fuller's compensatory code that he came up with, then it makes sense. So if we're looking for any type of relief from someone who's afraid that we could destroy them, then we may be looking in the wrong place. What we have to do in love, as Noble Drew Ali taught, in love, as your mom and dad taught, if you were able to be reared by your mom and dad. One thing I learned on this app, that there are situations in people's lives where some of these people were not reared with loving, giving, stay together parents. And that makes for a lot of the psychosis that seems to permeate this community. There's a lot of psychosis. Now, I don't know no one's pathology but my own. Christians called it generational curses. Whatever the case may be, I don't know what plagues you as an individual. I do, as one thing that Kwame used to say that I did before I ever heard him say it. I was taught this from a mom and a dad that I love dearly, and that is behavior. And, consequences. Every action, there's a reaction. When you learn the Hermetic principles, the duality of life, the masculine, the feminine, the ebb, the flow, that up, the down, the yin, the yang, everything is in vibration. Nothing stays still. Everything is in motion. Even the chair that you sit, the desk that you're, at, whatever it is in constant motion. When you learn that we didn't learn cosmology, so we don't understand the cosmic and the metaphysical aspect of life, then we're missing out on a lot. And so we were trained, it's called animal husbandry, in such a way that we come from a place known as emotions. A lot of us don't use logic. A lot of us don't exercise what I believe everyone has, and that's common sense. But I learned as I grew as an adult that common is not so common. And everybody don't exercise it. Some may not even know they possess it. Let me see what some of you guys in here are saying. I see Asator talking about the restaurant. Everybody pretty much speaking. So Alicia says she loves Benihana. Asatar said, I heard I wasn't missing. Asatar said, I heard I wasn't messing with Toothless anymore, and I've jumped ship. Yeah, y'all don't ever think, and let me please make this very clear. Don't ever think that Asatar will bring up anything that we haven't discussed. Asatar is not that type of person. And I had told him what I really, really love about him, and I wanted to thank him for being Asatar, Bulgarian. I really want to thank him for that because I'm so happy to see him being Asatar and being able and welcome to other platforms. TY, Straight Talk, Southside, Uncle Suge, and anyone who's about their business of YouTube. You know, everybody don't have to have the message that I have. I'm stalking each platform. People are trying to go. We're all trying to do our own thing. We're trying to make our business work for us. And we're all trying to, in some sort of way, just like I said, I love the commercial with the army. It says be an army of one, but we're all working toward one goal, and that is unity in the community, peace all over the globe. But first, we got to have some type of knowledge and understanding. You know, a lot of people say, if you want to get you a better audience, go to another sector. No, I don't have to do that. I came here to educate and to entertain. And that's what I do. It's my knowledge of whatever it is I'm sharing, unless I'm sharing from a book. And then I'll let you guys know that. Or if I'm sharing from a source, and I'll let you all know that. Because we always want to give credit to the source. That's where I got the information from. And I want you to be able to get the information because I don't want anybody to take my word for anything. I want you to hear my words as I drop keys, and then maybe it'll prompt you to want to go and research and see this for yourselves. That's what it's about for me. And, you know, being human, know my limitations. And I didn't really want great, big, and $1 million and $1 trillion really don't satisfy me because I wouldn't do anything but give it away to others to help them along the way. But I came here and I tell you all, I'm not doing this for money. When I say that, I am not saying that I don't want to get paid, as YouTube pay us once we reach 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours. Then they pay us if we qualify based on our material, if we're advertiser friendly. If you're not advertiser friendly, you won't get paid. And it's just that simple, not through ads. Now, you people are very generous to us all. Some more generous than others. But I look at people that support me by showing up every week, by hitting the like button and cash apping and super chatting. They do that out of the abundance of their heart and what they have to live with and to live on. They're still supporting my business. And I say hooray and thank you very much. I'm the only person that I've noticed when we look at numbers that are losing subscribers when everybody else is gaining. And I have no problem with that because I refuse to wallow in the mud. Some say with the pigs or with whomever. I didn't come here for that. And I really appreciate these people that are good at what they do. I don't appreciate people that are tricksters and scammers and liars, blatant liars. But I understand politics. And politics come with a bag of tricks. And some of us, our lives are so painful that we'd rather you lie to us than for us to take accountability and responsibility for being an adult and asking questions. There are certain things people ask down to every minute detail when it concerns Toothless. And I hear people say some of the darndest things on this YouTube, and no one poses a question. No one has posed a question to Rainy as to what happened from last year that you and Skinny were arch enemies. What happened that made you accept this person to where he's willing to throw you under the bus out in front of everyone, shame you, and you actually stand up and defend that type of behavior? What is it? All of the people that apologized to me, and I apologize to them, none of them have ever came out and honestly said, Toothless, you didn't do anything to me. I just did that because that's what we were doing. Skinny did this because if somebody can tell me what I did to them, I'd love to hear the story. I would love to hear somebody tell me what I did to them, because prior to August 21st, 2022, I had no issues with no one, although it seems a lot of you did not like me at all. Even though you supported me, you didn't like me. And that's fine. That can happen. But I don't know one person, and I often hear them say, we don't talk about anybody that don't come for us first. Skinny doesn't do anything to anybody that he doesn't have receipts for. Well, I haven't seen any receipts. People have done a lot to me. I've done nothing to no one. And I do, and I will, at all costs, defend my honor. But I didn't come here for that. But see, I'm a woman. I'm a mother. I am. And I am a protector of mankind. And so the first rule, law of nature, in nature, is self-preservation. So I got to defend me in order to lend me to anybody. I am no good for you if I'm no good for me. Not at all. But no one asked the real questions. But really, what did Toothless really do? Or what did she really say that caused you all to make? See, it's amazing to me how people, they said, oh, this happened one week. Let it go, let it go, let it flow. I've even heard TY say, he's been talking about me for 4 months since February, but you all started talking about me in August. And didn't stop until TY went to Atlanta, February, March. That's when the shift changed. But I understand now we're trying to shift back. And everybody who has all of these questions and keep listening to this human tell them about this case that's fake, false, and phony. Y'all have the case number. But I understand he's talking to his base, and I see that story ain't paying as much. The trick didn't work, the play or whatever you call it. So now we're going to try to get back on the Toothless train. But Toothless is choo-chooing on up the track. But I'm going to speak on any subject that I choose. Oh, now I'm getting flagged for being a bully because I stood up for me. And that's fine. You know, it is what it is. I'm going to do what I do. Win, lose, or draw. I shared with y'all just last week that YouTube found their answer. Now, if y'all think that's a joke and they're asking the case to be dismissed, then you all are stupider than I gave you stupid credit for. I thought most of you all had some semblance of decency. Perhaps I was wrong. But you can read it. It's there. I just don't believe you would find any documents from YouTube if this was fake, false, or phony. Then you can go and read the Federal Rules of Civil Procedure, since you all want to tell about how long it's taken. And you know, you all have been in the criminal system. A lot of you have, especially the skinny gang that we no longer hear. But you all have been in the criminal injustice system. You know how it works. You know about preliminaries. You know how it goes. I don't schedule the court. The judge does. You know how it goes. And if you follow the case, and if you go out there and look up Unbreakable Kicks, Eric Spencer, I believe is his name, and this man that I'm right now in litigation with, you will find their case. And you will find that he was actually came out victorious in his case. But you will find that the master playmaker, the Don, filed bankruptcy, and therefore they made a settlement that there would be no payout because he got to stay. And that's what you get a bankruptcy from your creditors. So the people think bankruptcy is something horrible. No, it protects you from your creditors. It's nothing horrible about it. Sometimes you get in over your head. This man seems to do this quite often. He's been to court with Sister T, with Queen Regina, with Eric Spencer, now me. And you know, he claims he's victorious. I don't think so. But if he chooses to call it victory, who am I to define victory for him? That he would make a play and then throw a woman under the bus who just a few months ago was scared for her life, she said, because his WWE partner, the tag team partner, put all of her life out before the public, disparaged her, something terrible. It was very sad. You see, I don't know this woman, so I don't have no animus toward her. And I've heard her say that, you know, I don't talk about anybody that don't talk about me first. That's a lie. She went by what this man told her, said she didn't know me, and then started talking about my financial situation as if she knows. It's sad, and I want it to stop. I can't save anybody. So let's understand this. I didn't come to save anybody from themselves. I came to share with you what I know and what I've learned. Right or wrong, you be the judge by researching for yourself. And then live accordingly. We have a real enemy against us. This platform is actually a platform where we can really, if you really want to be a millionaire, you can be one. You don't need a college degree. You don't even need a GED. All you need is a telephone, a computer, a voice, and a message. And your message is whatever you deem it to be. Whatever is a desire of yours, a passion in your heart. That's what it's all about. So I don't get many people in the chat, and that's okay. It's really okay. Because I realize we're addicted to chaos. We're addicted to pain. And the more you hurt and degrade me, the more I'll support you. I see that on YouTube every day. I'm on YouTube twice a week, live. Sometimes I feel good and I'll do videos throughout the week. Sometimes I don't feel so good because I know my limitations, and you all know pretty much my health condition because I've shared it with you. But I live life to the fullest, and I enjoy every moment. I'm so good at what I do, being me, and I'm so happy and confident. I wasn't always there. It took some time to work out some things in my life, but I'm here. It ain't nothing in life that I want for that I don't have access to. Nothing. I've had an opportunity to travel the world. I'm not a traveler. I traveled where I traveled. But I like to encourage others to go after their dream. Doesn't matter what you have. Doesn't matter what you start out with. See, we all had a beginning. And I can't see for the life of me how we come on YouTube and they say this is the roasting section and they are supposed to be roasting each other, but all we hear about is people's family life and their criminal history and what their children did or didn't do and what they supposedly did to their children. That's just asinine to me. And it's very disheartening and discouraging as a woman, as a mother, as a human being. It's very disheartening. We are the intellectual ones, so we are taught. But I see elephants show more compassion toward each other than we do as humans. And for that, that's terrible. Awfully bad. Elephants, they don't speak a word, but they're very affectionate, very intimate. And they don't leave one elephant behind. If an elephant is knocked down, the whole herd will stay there with that elephant until it takes its last breath. And then they will stay there until the mother of that elephant, if she's alive, until she say her last goodbyes. And then the herd moves on. They taught us like the herd on the farm. We're domesticated herds. And we just believe in following the leader and believe in the lie. We don't care about truth. But then we all profess to be such great Christians, and we attend this church, and we do this in benevolence, and we do that. But do we really? Do we really? We're not even considerate of one another here on YouTube. It was real funny when Skinny was talking about my deceased mother, just like he was Quan. It was very, very funny to talk about the things that he talked about. It's her vagina and hair around my lips that grows just like the hair around his lips, because humans grow hair. Have to be some nasty, dirty ring that I received coming out of my mother's womb. I pity the fool. And I have already apologized for my ignorance and my stupidity for supporting a man who was funny at times, but disgusting the majority of the time. You see, we all fall short of others' expectations, even our own. We fall short. We do. But I'm grateful that TY, Straight Talk, Southside, like I said, I know, I believe, Sister T, I know Uncle Suge, he's been there. Receive Asatar as the man that he is, because Asatar truly, truly is a builder. He's a builder. His life is proof of it. His life is proof of it. He spent over half of his life building with children of all races, denominations, and certain ages, from high school and college. And then now he has his own little guys. It really is awesome. Sometimes now he gets on my nerve, and I certainly get on his. He'll never say I get on his nerves, but I know I do. I know I do. Because I know he gets on mine sometimes. But never in anger. We always can talk it out. After he explained to me 50 ways, because he's going to break it down to the lowest common denominator. I don't know if that's just an Asatar thing or if that's a man thing, because you don't meet many men. You meet a lot of males. You need a lot of males. Neely Fuller explained that that's how they do it in the sex area. See, in the house, there can only be one man and one woman. And of course, that has to be the European. Because after all, don't we call him the man? Yeah, we do. And we're considered wards of the state. So we go from, instead of boys to men, we go from boys to males. And then the women go from girls to females. And that's why it's really easy to sell the idea that now you can choose your gender, because now we make gender not be important. It's tricky, but it's real. It's real. And only the strong will survive. Only the strong. You got to understand, understand, and overstand. No matter what you think you know, at some point in your life, you got to stop and say, wait a minute. Could this really be true? Let me start doing some research. And in any research, in order to be effective in what you do, you got to start with a timeline. You got to go back to the beginning. That's why the Sun Book starts in the beginning. You got to trace it back in order to move it forward. You got to truly understand where you come from so you'll know where you're going. You have to do that. Let me see here. Asatar said, we talked about you jumping ship. He said, let me make this clear. Gil was the reason I came to YouTube, but Toothless is the reason I stayed, and the reason I'm still here is what he meant. He said, I'm still, unless some of y'all were wondering. And believe him when he say that. That's the truth. Lord King said, Toothless, I have been listening to most of your videos, and sister, I have been looking for you. I'm glad I'm here. And I don't know a whole lot. And Lord King, do know that you're anytime you're interested, if you want to share some knowledge, because you're in the capital city, in the oldest city where all the history began, at any time you want to share some knowledge, my email, I thought it was strolling across the bottom, but please hit me up. Anytime you want to come up, you can just say it in the chat. I don't let people up. I don't have panels and stuff like that. Asatar and Ryan and so Alicia pretty much are the people that will come up on my panel. I don't do panels. I'm not trying to prove nothing to nobody. I'm just sharing my life experiences and the things that I've learned along the way, and hopefully it can help somebody. Actually, it was my son that set me on this path, and my son is 42 years old. He went off to school, and we send them off to be smarter and to do a little bit better and learn more than what we knew. And he took some classes and he had some questions and he just couldn't understand it. And of course, I was a devout born again Christian, and I could not hear nothing he was saying, and I would not listen to anything he was saying. Now, his grandparents from Philadelphia, his grandfather is Charles Searles, the renowned prodigy from Philadelphia, and he's renowned throughout the world, even in the Smithsonian. He's something to be admired for those who don't know him. And he was my ex-father-in-law, and I didn't know much of him because they were a very different breed of people. But one thing my ex-husband did grow up with, he had people like Hugh Masekela that came to their home, and they used to have jam sessions and things of that nature. So he grew up where his mother was like the Angela Davis, Black Power, Ungawa, and they knew of Islam, not just the creed, but Islam, self-law, and master, the degrees of knowledge. And my son was able to go to the Million Man's March. My brother and my cousin took him with him. And so he was able to go to that. And he was able to go visit his grandmother. And she loved on him and taught him a few things about white supremacy. And we don't want to discuss real issues. And we don't want to discuss them because we keep talking about the man did this and the man did that. But we don't understand the gatekeepers. We don't understand the gatekeepers don't look like them. They look like us. That's the way I liken people like the skinnies, the ones who do the plays and can tell their constituency anything, because trust me, you guys are our constituents. You support us and you help us be all that we can be, good, bad, or indifferent. And I often tell people repetition strengthens and confirms. Face comes naturally. But a lot of these people are truly repetitiously getting it wrong. They're getting it wrong. They're not trying to do right. They don't want to take responsibility for their actions. They want to, point that one finger while, three fingers and a thumb is coming back at them. They want to point that finger so that they can say that, hold me harmless because I didn't contribute to the craziness that's going on. I tell you, there's something wrong with that with adults who don't check behavior of adults that are childlike. We can't hold anybody to nothing. We can't make them say anything. We can't even entice them. I guess maybe you can with money, because that seems to be what all these people love to talk about: the bag, the bag, the bag, the fiat Federal Reserve note that's backed with nothing but them, and they don't understand that. But I understand. And so I keep going forward. I'm grateful for those of you that have found me interested. Lord King, I thank you for subscribing. I have lost 15 people in the last 30 days. And thanks to you and to others, I've gained actually 3 people. So I'm grateful for that. And I will continue to show up for as long as this feels good to me. And trust me, it feels good to me to be in my element, because my element is to advocate for those who have a voice but don't know it. And so I am the voice for the voiceless. That's my mission. That's my purpose. That's what I do to help people on a daily basis. I do big things, very big things for the individual. But for me, it's a very small thing. And it's small for me because I have the knowledge and the ability to do it. So I don't mind doing it to help anybody. And when these people all laughed and said that my lawsuit was fake, oh, it was real fake until it wasn't fake. But now we want to go back to fake and dispel. But all you have to do is go read the first 15 rules of the Federal Rules of Civil Procedure, if you all want to know about this case, and then go to Pacer and put in the case number that you all have. And if you don't have it, go back to my video and get it. Go back to the video and get it, and put in that case number, and then read everything on the docket. And then you'll know what's happening. See, when Skinny starts talking about me again, it's because Google filed their papers. So it used to be when papers were filed, he would let the real truth put it on the board, and they would laugh and talk about me and try to make me sound like some dumb, wild, crazy, woolly woman. I guarantee you I'm neither. I am 64. I am 64. And if I keep living one day at a time, come October 26th, I'll be 65. But until then, I'm going to live each moment as if it's my last, and just live right now, right now. And so let me see. As I don't question anyone on where they go, I respect it. You just won't find me there, ever. No shades. As said, so Alicia, this wasn't meant for you. No offense. Unless you thought I jumped ship. The truth is, you never really messed with the crew. I was going on their panels before any of this. And that's true. Their panels, randoms, we all were really a community until, it started turning on us. See, because Queen Regina and Sister T and Miss 504, they really didn't feel a part of the community because they were under attack. And because the attack wasn't us and they were attacking back, we didn't feel the need to jump in and try to defend them. Not at all. We just let them go through what they go through. We didn't see that this was a big coward that was pouncing on women and everything they stood for. And for that, I, really hate, and I apologize for it. Over with and done. But usually, as a people, and as human beings, I'm talking, unless it affects me directly, I can't relate to whatever you're going through unless it affects me directly. That's most human beings. The way I'm able to help the people that I help, not because it is affecting me, 9 times out of 10, what they're going through, I've experienced, walked through it, and came out victorious in some situations, not so victorious in others. That's why, everybody's counting now. All of a sudden, the lawsuit that's fake and they don't believe in, they counting on the day when the lawsuit do this and do that. The lawsuit ain't gonna do anything for y'all. May not do anything for me. What is, I did what I needed to do. And that's what it does for me. So I don't care about the outcome. Although I would love a victory. True that. That's why I did it. But I know I'm not a vigilante. My son has nothing to do with this stupidity on YouTube. There is no way I would involve my family in any of anybody's shenanigans by being disparaging, even though it's some very hurtful said words. And words do hurt. They can kill, but not this time. No, I'd rather let the system that sometimes works, sometimes it doesn't. But Thurgood Marshall taught me one good thing, and it has worked for me so far: win, lose, or draw. And that is the same laws that they use to put you in the condition you're in. That's the very same laws you're going to have to use to get out from under that. And if you don't believe that, then keep on believing what you believe and see if your situation changed at all. Hey, Wilma, as said, so I'm really not doing anything different than I did before all of the BS. I had an issue with who causes an issue with me. I don't with Mondo. They don't rock with Skinny. So issue solved as far as I'm concerned. And it has to be the same for them because you all now have an open communication. And Alicia said, "As I know you haven't jumped ship." Laugh out loud. As said, so Alicia, that was the narrative the senile snake was trying to push today. I just wanted to make it clear that the only reason I'm still here is because of Toothless 100. As says, so Alicia said, "As I have no ought against any of them. We are just different people. If they talk about something that I agree with, I watch. But these days, I just stay low." And so Alicia said, "As I don't know him." Female snake, and then he told you who that was. Patchad plays, Ryan says, "As doesn't ring a bell." Laughter. Lord King, do y'all realize that every beef on these streets starts when someone disagreed with another? We all have to be able to agree to disagree. I like part of what you're saying, Lord, but let me just let you know, I don't agree to disagree with nobody. Nowhere in earth and no other planet. If we disagree, we just disagree and we can move forward. My daddy taught me disagreeing is arguing. So if you continue to argue, then gonna come the tapping. And then with the tapping come the knockout. And then with the knockout come the boom. And then with the boom come the meaning somebody's gone. So the best way for me to live my life, and this is how I live it, I don't agree to disagree with anybody because I don't agree to argue. I really don't. Although you may hear me argue, I don't agree to it. But if we should disagree, then let's disagree knowing that we disagree. You go your way and I go mine in the conversation. We don't have to lose relationship and friendship because we disagree. That's what makes us all who we are. And we see a lot of things alike. But when we learn that law begins and ends with us, morality belongs to you, the individual, then you will understand, and understand why you may have a difference of opinion. I think the biggest thing for me is when people want you to buy that this is just their opinion as if it's truth, but they'll tell you, no, it's not fact. It's just my opinion. But your opinion can be wrong. And people don't want to acknowledge that until they see it a different way. And they still won't acknowledge that their opinion of you was wrong. That's just my opinion. It's your opinion based on what you know. So I agree about that. I really do agree with that. But I just don't agree to disagree with anybody. We just disagree and let's just move on and keep talking. And we can change the subject. Adults should be able to do that. Children, not so much. But you can learn a lot from a child because some children can. You see them, they just tussling over a toy or yeah. And the next thing you know, they hugging and playing. When the adults stay out of whatever the issue is. It is said, hello all listening to the message tonight. Okay, so now that we've gotten that far, so as is driving, he's doing his work, so he said that he cannot participate as much because he's in and out the car, That's how he gets behind. And Lord King say, Esau, I'm doing wonderful, magnificent, and great, brother, and you. Yeah, so now let's get to this beautiful stuff that I have for you guys, and then we'll call it a night. Basically, I want to keep it on the matriarch, on the woman, because honestly, that's how this thing is going to turn around. Because we are the first teachers, and we don't need to blame. I think where we cannot ever resolve issues is because we're always looking to blame somebody. And that's where our problem is. Let's just take responsibility for our part. And if we do that, then we don't have time to look at what you did. You'll confess what you did. I'll say what I did. And we don't want to do that no more. We can do something different. That's kind of how it goes for me. I wasn't always there. You got to get there. You know, I too received the same animal husbandry training. I had the herd mentality. But it was something about me that was different. And that's for all of us who dare to dream and dare to be different. You know, it's something inside of us that won't allow us to just conform to whatever. It's something that keeps us asking questions. And the person that asks questions is the person that's in the driver's seat of their lives. You don't have to defend against nothing. You're learning, you're taking in knowledge. Phyllis said, people, you must be open to listen. Lord King said, my father played the trumpet with the Bel Airs, Frankie Beverly, and many more. Awesome. Astor got a $37 tip. Let's go. The other day, I got hit with a $91 tip, and yes, he did. I saw the proof at the back of my neck. Shout out Uncle Suge via Tommy. And he's talking about the back of the neck. Astor want to be a little comedian. We got it, Ass. Thank you. And Phyllis said, the world turns and keep turning. Read. These folks do not want to read. Lord King said, like I told you, be grateful for the subs you do have and not the ones you don't have. And you said a mouthful right there. And that's the truth of the matter. I truly agree with that, Lord King. You said a mouthful right there. And so, hey, Alicia said, hey, guess what? There is a new feature that allows you to send emojis to share your support. Please take advantage. And remember to make it fun. But it says, now the real truth is coming to the light. So Alicia said, as hit my cash out. And so Alicia said, weak. And she said, what is his obsession with you? And I don't know who she's talking about, but she said she fought back hard. As said, as so Alicia, I'll pass. And Lord King said, in so many words, sister, you and I are saying the same thing. I agree with your way. Yeah, truly, we are. We are. But, you know, it's just that we as a people, because we have that herd mentality, we hear a lot of these little cute sayings, and we don't think for ourselves, or we don't dare to make up a saying. You know, we can come up with some quotes, because 9 times out of 10, the quotes that we're quoting may be attributed to somebody, but one of us said it. I think that that's really something. I want to share with y'all, this is a book, and it's called She Redeems. And of course, I won't share the whole book. I'm just going to share the things that I have and learned. And again, it comes from R.V. Day, and there is a young lady who wrote the book. And the writing is so fancy, I couldn't figure out the name. But I learned a lot of what I learned from taking notes from the keys that Taj Tariq Bey have given me over the years. He was the first person that I truly understood what this thing is all about. I'm not associated with any clubs or any denominations or whatever you guys are associated with. I don't have a problem for anybody that's associated with anything, because I too know the Sun book. I studied it. I lived by it. And I did not understand that a lot of it was just allegory, parable, and it was taught to us on an anthropomorphic view. I didn't know that until I started growing and researching for myself. And so, you know, a lot of people want to know, well, what are you? What are you? Because whatever you profess to be, I don't see it in you. So it doesn't matter. What you do know is I'm a mother. I'm a woman. And I'm one that treats you right with respect. And I don't often get that. But it's okay. Because I live by the common law. And that is, if I don't harm you and you don't harm me, then no harm is done. I'm not going to allow you to harm me. Once harm has been done, that will not continue. Because initially when things happen to you, you can't prevent someone from saying something dastardly to you. You can't prevent it unless you don't communicate with that person. But you never know what's going to happen until it happens to you. And then you respond and react accordingly. But in She Redeems, what we become to know is women are the first nurturers, producing and raising both male and female. We are destined to govern society. A nation of people cannot rise higher than its women. And that's one of the reasons we're in dire straits. The way we view us ourselves, the way we view each other, and the way we allow people to label us and view us and treat us. The question is, will the children rule the world? All individuals are mortal, and the destiny of the world, the ruling and the being ruled, is all in the hands of the children. Those who rule today were children of yesterday and will be dust tomorrow. That is the law of human life. It means a mother is the holiest thing alive, that history is made in the nursery. That the bringing up of children is the noblest, the purest, the most necessary work in the world, and the most difficult, just because the human being is so wonderful and complicated in the nature of the mind and his body. And that comes from the Book of Knowledge collection. The author goes on to say, I recognize through observance and experience that this would be a good time to write a booklet based on the responsibilities of the woman, both spiritual and physical, in connection with raising of children, particularly male children, in the Western Hemisphere. The true and proper governing of men and women begins with the raising of children, as this is where governing of self and others is taught. Too often women complain about men, yet they do not take into consideration that men are raised and influenced by women. Often they fail to see that the condition of the man is a direct result of and reflects the condition of the women and of her determinations of how societies are run, as she is the major influence. Think about this. Many women expect some other mother to raise a son or a daughter that is good enough for them, or for their daughters and sons to mate with, without the knowledge that they have to collectively raise them to be good, productive, and responsible, possessing of principles and ethics. This certainly involves culture and cultivation. The womb, the first school. We're all taught through the womb, whether we are conscious of it or not. This is where the teachings begin. Therefore, by natural mandate and order, it is necessary for women to be aware and prepared to receive and impart innate knowledge to their sons and daughters in the womb. This is a true aspect of prenatal care. Now just imagine if someone shared those things with us before we even knew about growing up, mating, and then procreating. This is some knowledge. If we didn't share these things with our children, if we were not abundantly aware of these things, we now have grandchildren that we can impart this knowledge into. Because remember, we believe the children are our future. When you think of anything in the physical, you must think about its origin. Thought is the seed, origin of all matter. Before anything can be manifested in the physical plane, it takes root in the spiritual plane, utilizing the ethers and in rhythm with the ebb and flow energies of life. The rhythm of life. All thoughts, all things have an origin. An atom, the soul of the matter. Matter. They give the definition. A, the element in the universe that undergoes formation and alteration. B, the formless substratum of all things, which exists only potentially and upon which form acts to produce reality. Since women bring life into form from the spiritual to the physical, they need to be aware of what they are bringing in. Bringing in the souls. Souls are the seeds of the cosmic mother. In order for a soul to enter the physical plane, it must take on a physical form, matter. That form is the body, which is built in the womb in the course of 9 months from conception to birth. The body, physical form, is the temple of the soul of man, Solomon's temple. Solomon's temple is not spooky or mysterious, nor is it possessed of dogmatic pseudo-religion. However, due to a great lack of general knowledge, many have believed it is. From now on, when you hear of Solomon's temple, know that it refers to your physical body, which houses the soul. When a woman is pregnant, her stomach, by way of the stretching of the uterine muscle, creates a perfect arc. This is the ark of the covenant. The covenant is the agreement to bring the souls into physical form. Women have an awesome responsibility. When you hear talk of the grand architect that built Solomon's temple in the darkness with no tools and no sound, you now know, if you didn't before, they are speaking of you, mother. Made and born of your mother, the grand architect. Loss of this simple knowledge is a result of an intervention or diversion visited upon the woman. This intervention / diversion happened on the surface, but created an altering of the mind on a deep unconscious level, which caused women, for the most part, to disconnect with their intimate responsibilities, which are in harmony with nature, i.e., the development of beings. This is an obvious function for women, and only women, to recreate or reproduce herself. Only she does that. No one else, nothing else. She is the womb of the universe. All beings come to life through the womb, just as Yahshua did, and they have in parentheses Jesus. The intervention diversion goes way back in history, and it repeats itself as it is perpetual. It will keep repeating itself unless and until we break the chain as a result of the diversion or intervention. She became a victim of herself, lost in her own duties and expecting of someone else, her sons, to do her job. She forgot that she was the matriarch and began looking outside of herself for God, wherein she adopted idol God worship. Render unto Caesar that which is Caesar's, meaning to give the idol God worship of the Romans, European, back to them. What happened to the matriarch? The universe always has been and always will be matriarchal by nature. We were forced into patriarchal dogmatic society as a destructive product of the intervention / diversion, the Crusades. The forceful purpose of the Crusades was to destroy the matriarch and introduce a patriarchal system which took not too many generations to fulfill. They created, without a doubt, out of the political order of Christendom, and force the belief system out of which you have a people tagged as the believers of today. Although belief is necessary to teach the initiates or the children, it is also very necessary that one graduates into knowledge or knowing. The patriarchal system is out of order with nature and does not possess logic or common sense. Because it is out of order, it cannot and will not stand. This is why you are witnessing the fall of any and all institutions that supports it or are supported by it. What you are witnessing is the fall I'm trying to just line this up while I stop reading. What you are witnessing is the fall of an unnatural order and the disillusion of untruths. Truth and facts are colliding with belief and falsehood. With the advent of the false belief system, suddenly matter appeared to be without order. In fact, if you look up the word matter under the Christian Science definition, which is found in the dictionary, it reads as follows: matter, the illusion that the objects perceived by the physical sense have reality of substance. The intervention and diversions of the matriarchal society started long ago, as far back as the Punic Wars. And if you don't go back and look at the Punic Wars and the Crusades, then you kind of not going with the timeline. Not that you have to buy what is being told. That's up to you. But this is just tools for you to research, for you to see if this aligns with what you believe or know to be true, or logic, or illogical, sense, common sense, or senseless. This just gives you another way of looking at life. As adults, we cannot stay tunnel in one way. We have to be open to the possibilities of it could be something out of the scope. Ray Hagan is a pastor that comes on YouTube, and he's a Pan-African pastor, and he used to be a Pentecostal pastor, but he teaches you this is my mind, my knowledge. And there are so many things outside of the circumference of my knowledge. We gotta be willing to admit that there is a possibility that there are some things that's out of our range and scope of knowledge. We've arrived at wherever we arrived, but we had to get there. So now you have an opportunity to look at something outside of the norm, quote unquote. The intervention and diversions of the matriarchal society started long ago, as far back as the Punic Wars, wars of the Phoenicians, which merged into the Christian Crusades, the Battle of Tours or Poitiers, one of the most decisive world wars, and Charles Martel, Charles the Hammer, leading the Crusades. This led eventually to the Battle of Lake Michigan and the Spanish-American War, fought on North American soil. Then there was the French Revolution. Greetings, Briex. Which inspired the American Revolution, and out of the American Revolution came the Daughters of the American Revolution, which is DAR. The DAR taught their sons from the womb to have a psychological superior position over your sons, over the world for that matter. Those daughters, mothers of the American Revolution, revolted against the society, as it were, and made sure their sons were taught in the womb and came out of the womb with the authoritative demeanor. Those sons founded the Ku Klux Klan, Knights of Columbus, various Masonic orders, i.e., Tall Cedars of Lebanon, Shriners, etc. Lastly, there was the Civil War, one of the final nails in the coffin of the matriarchal society, or of natural living and natural people. Continued destruction of the matriarch. Further destruction of the psyche of the matriarch mother was when she witnessed the mutilation and murder of her babies, her sons, daughters, and her men. She was traumatized by the sight of the womb being cut open and babies dropping to the ground. She was traumatized when they tied each limb of her man, sons, to a different horse and sent them off in different directions. She was traumatized into disconnecting with her babies, as she knew they would be taken away and sold on the auction block. She has always been the target. This is the basis of the modern psychological state of the woman. She is still in shock. And while in that state, she has sold out herself and her babies to the very system that enslaves her and her babies. She must first be awakened and get back in touch with knowledge of self, so she may put things back in order, teach from the womb again, and redeem humanity. I don't know. I don't see many of you talking. I don't know what you guys are thinking or feeling, but as I read a lot of this information, it sparked it, made me want to read more, and to come to the person that I've become today, understanding that there's not many things in this life that we can control other than ourselves, our thinking, our actions, what we do, how we do it, how we teach. A lot of this we've never heard. And then some would say, oh, that's you already know that. We don't come here already knowing anything, because a lot of times if you listen to what this is saying, is we are not teaching in the womb. Most of us are traumatized when we are pregnant. Most of us, the father leaves us when we say, I'm expecting. That puts you in a whole different mindset and frame of being. Now you have to rely on others to do for you what you thought you had a mate that loved and cared for you should be here doing, making it easy for you to be the teacher that you need to be, in peace with yourself and with your child. The father should be there, putting in his input as a male, letting him hear that voice. You know, it's really amazing. You have to see it to believe it. The difference in the children that are born in urban states that seems to be hopeless conditions, and the children that their parents actually plan this out or live in a condition that's what we consider middle class, and we actually see them reading to their child while they're in the womb and speaking to them, and then you actually see the child being born, and then you see the child developed. If you ever had the pleasure of seeing that, this is a beautiful sight to see. And I've had the pleasure of seeing it all. I've had the pleasure of seeing it always. Yes, I'll share the name of the book. I can also tell you guys that some of these books are not in publication anymore, but Dr. G has a USB cord that you can order, and it used to be $25, and I don't know if it still is. Dr. G is her name, the House of Reawakening Minds. And you can go to her web. They're now getting a website, but that's her YouTube page, and they have it scrolling down. They have a USB that has all of this on it. But I'll tell you the name of this. That it's the name of this book is She Redeems. That's the name of the book. But a lot of this was published back in like the 60s and 70s, and so they're out of print. But they may have this. I don't know. But it's She Redeems. And I'll look and see if I can find the name of the author, because her name was written in such a way I couldn't really read it. It was that real fancy cursive writing that I couldn't figure it out. Okay, let me keep going. And this is the kind of stuff that we're not supposed to be taught. And we have to know this stuff in order for us to know how to change our condition. Our condition is not going to change if we just pick up arms and just start, just going crazy. Like we're hearing, I heard that there were like 7 people that were shot somewhere. I don't know if that was Chicago or where. One place is 6 people were stabbed, and car plunged through and ran over about 6 people. As I shared the other day, Phyllis, one of her friend's daughters, was just crossing the street, and the lady just drove through the crowd. We still don't know the storyline, if the lady had a medical emergency or if she just chose to plunge through the crowd. We don't know, but she was able to start with her first surgeries on yesterday. And so we're grateful for that, because her face was shattered, her whole face. And she lost all her teeth. But she's alive to tell the story. And her brain seems to be intact in her memory. They're going to do the surgery a couple of days before, but the swelling was still too much, and it went down enough for them to have the surgery on yesterday. So I guess that was actually Friday, not Saturday. I think it was Friday. Okay, so let me go back. I'm just going to start back at she has always been the target. She has always been the target. This is the basis of the modern psychological state of the woman. She is still in shock. And while in that state, she has sold out herself and her babies to the very system that enslaves her and her babies. She must first be awakened and get back in touch with knowledge of self, so she may put things back in order, teach from the womb again, and redeem humanity. Yeah, I know her too. I know her too. I don't know her like you do, but I know her where I can call her and talk with her, and she'll answer the phone, and we'll talk with one another. But that's where you can get the actual USB cord that has it's so much information. One of the teachings of Noble Drew Ali is he said he has to teach a little at a time, because if he teach too much, it'll put you back to sleep. It's overwhelming. Just the truth of whatever you want to believe the truth to be, just to learn that truth, that you started using your mind and saying, that's why this Okay, this makes, when you start coming into that awakening for real, whatever that awakening is for you, when you come into that, it is so awesome, but it is so much. You really have to decide for yourself, really, where you want to go. And one thing that you learn, hi Jade, it's good to see you. One thing that you will learn is law begins and ends with you. So it's how you want to do it. The rule that you must apply to everybody is the law of the land, and that's the common law. If you don't harm me and I don't harm you, no harm is done. Everything else, you have to govern it. You have to do it. That's why I say, of course, it's a you thing. I always try my best to express that to individuals. That's one of the things I liked about YouTube. Some people call it used tube because people get on here and use people. Well, when you first come here, honestly, you don't know the tricks of the game. But one thing you know, growing up in urban America, and that's mainly known as the ghettos, there is nothing that is supposed to be done that we don't do what we call niggerig it. We can't do it the way it's supposed to be done. We don't want to follow the path that's already been laid before us. We always got to either add a little something or we got to take a little something away and make it our own. Well, it's nothing wrong with making anything your own. But the thing is, what we got to know is truth has no versions. It is what it is. And see, a lot of people, when they start waking up, and this is what happens to all of the organizations that start out wanting to help and free the people, we have to realize that all skin folks ain't kin folks, and all kin folks ain't for you. Just because you're kin doesn't mean you're on the same side, you know. And if you go by the first story that we were taught in the Bible of brothers, we learn that one slew the other. So we know that that was given to us for a reason. Again, a lot of things are metaphorically, allegory, parable, but it's for us to use this brain that's so vast and holds so much history that we've suppressed it because of what we've gone through. And we don't call upon our ancestors like all other people. There's no culture of people but ours that don't acknowledge the ancestors. And not that the ancestors are going to do anything. It's an acknowledgement of honor. It's an acknowledgement of where you come from. Not all ancestors were good ancestors. And that's a good thing. Because we had some ancestors that would get on somebody's behind. And we had some that would pray for somebody's behind. Or would wound, or I should say, would heal someone's behind. I really appreciate the support too, Jade. Thank you so very much. Lord King said, what is so crazy is that when you realize that everything you have been taught was wrong program, and now you have to go from miseducation to education, like Dr. Naam Akbar's book is titled. So very right. Well, in education, when you learn that we were given docility training for animals instead of erudition, which is education, and it's learning for human development. And because we were not viewed as human, and today we choose not to see ourselves as human, you know, I'm savage, sexy, what's up, whatever. We savages, we beast, we whatever you think you are, other than who and what you are. It's sad. And we don't know. And that's why words are very important. Words are so very important, and a lot of people live by etymology, and there are some people that do not. They have a problem with etymology. But this book here is an excellent book, and I got this book. Mostly all of my books I received from Amazon. Uh, it's From Mere to More, Timid Until Now. And a lot of people think being a Moor means that you're a part of an organization. But, what we have to learn is everything is based in the law of contract. And so the Moor Science Temple and the Science Temple, it's two of them, Holy Science Temple, they were developed by Noble Drew Ali to teach and reach the people. He taught civics. Civics is what runs the world using our science. We were Moors when we fell, and so we have to be who we were when we fell, when we rise. That's your bloodline, your pedigree. It's good to belong to a temple if you can find a temple operating in the manner in which it was intended. But like a lot of other things, you don't find that. Even in a lot of churches, they don't operate in the form in which it was intended. Or the question then becomes, or do they? But one thing you got to learn is we got to learn to be independent beings, even though we are interdependent and we need and want each other. But we got to learn to think using our brain. And then, you got to have something in you that makes you want to step outside of the box. Because we all were trained the same. But some of us, and we probably would be the ones that wouldn't have made it. Some of us say it's got to be something different than this. It's got to be something. It's got to be. And I've given you the reasoning, so we don't have to come up with a reason why they do this. Like has nothing to do. It's an economy that is used to keep us divided. And I don't know who would be flagging me to the point that they're trying to take me off the air. But, oh well, it happens. It happens. Fair use gives me the right to use any material for critiquing, criticism, education, research, and we're learning. And I don't know if I don't believe Dr. G would have a problem with me sharing the knowledge that I've acquired, because we've shared so much over the phone, and it doesn't matter. Whatever happens, happens. But one thing I know that Taj does, and that is he gives of himself freely. And people do give to him and to them, but he does this because that's what he is called to do. And I do likewise. So it is what it is, and it is how it is. But this is a vehicle that I can use to reach masses. Taj has been doing this work for over 50 years. And when he started doing it, and up until the internet, and I think they said YouTube was somewhere around 2005. I don't know exactly. But what he did, give me a moment, please. Okay, I'm back. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I believe all the Americans, not just you know us, but I believe all of us that's on the American soil. Of course, you hear so much and so many things, and if you listen to, it's so much out there. Really, I promise you, it's so much out there. Um, you could really get confused, and that's why you have to do your own research and then come to your own conclusion. And it is whatever you say it is. You don't let anyone define you, because you would be lost, if you actually, it's just like people who are paying, talking about getting their DNA tested, and they tell them that they got all of these triple thousand people inside of them. Okay, that's, a joke, really. It's laughable. Now, someone would get a DNA test and they'll tell them they got 7 different people inside of them. But anthropology and what are those things that has done? Archaeology has proven that all human life began from a woman that looks like me, okay? But we don't believe that. That can't be true. How did the colors change? How did the hair change? How did this happen? Now, they can't believe that, but then they can go back and believe, well, I got this in my blood. It's so deceiving. And we don't know what these people are doing with our blood. We shouldn't freely give up this stuff, but we do it because we've been trained to do so. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a medical person. I'm not an attorney. I'm not a lawyer. I don't give legal advice, medical advice, psychological advice. I am speaking from my experience. I suggest if you have any issues, this is what I suggest, that you learn whatever professional you go to, because I believe in professionals. I don't believe you have to have a license, but we have to have a license. So that's what it is. My belief don't have anything to do with that. I believe if the doctors want to do this, then you should try to read the books that the doctors read. You may not comprehend everything, and you don't have to, but you should have an idea. You don't have to practice to comprehend what is being said or what is being done. That's what adults do. See, what we have to learn to do is differentiate between a child's behavior and an adult's behavior. We have to do that. Truth has no versions. It is what it is. Belief is whatever you make it be. And there's nothing wrong with belief. Everything starts with faith, belief. But you have to grow to fruition, manifestation. That's knowledge. You got to, at some point, know. But everything is not all knowing. You're not going to know it all, but you got to go to a point where you know who you are, not who you believe you are. See, that's what happens when we meet each other. And that's what I allow people to be, who they say they are. So I allow them to be who they believe they are, until they show me different. And Lord King doesn't think that. Okay. And see, I don't really care what people believe, because what I do is, again, I'm coming from me. And I'm giving you keys for you can decide for you. And if that's what you decide, then you're doing the right thing, because there's nothing wrong with whatever you as an individual do, think, feel, believe, as long as you are not harming anybody or letting anybody harm you. There's nothing wrong with whatever a person thinks. It's really not. Well, I think what the point comes with the Moors from this, Patrick, who cares about you just passing the house? You do this every week. Stop it. It's not cute. It's not funny. Who cares? But this is what you learn if you start researching for yourself, is when you go back, our landmass was Asia before it was ever any name, before it was Alkebalon, before it was Kemet, before it was Ecupta, before it was anything, before anybody conquered anything. They were they. Okay. And when the people came over the river, it was the Atlantis. See, so you would have to believe other stuff. You can't just get stuck on that. If you don't believe that it was a real Atlantis, and if you don't believe in Timbuktu, and if you don't believe in dynasties and kingdoms, this was Morocco was the kingdom. This land was north, the furthest west. It's called the Keepers of the North Gate. If you don't believe that those people, Yahudi, the ones who crossed the river and came here many, many years ago, those are the people that they call the Indians, then you're not going to believe that. So you don't have to believe that, but you got to research that and see if you believe that. You can't take my word for it. You do your own research. And if you've done all of your research and you don't see it, then you have that right. You have that right. But it's not only just here. See, we all just look at America as the United States. That's not true. America is Canada, is these states, and then you have Mexico. All of us are the same people. Then you got to go down to Central America, and then you got to go down to South America, and then you got to go to the islands. So it's not just the people here on this land, although it is us on this land. So it's just how far you want to take your research. And then once you do that, if you don't see it the way it's written, then that's not that for you. And that's okay. It's really okay. But in all that I've learned and what I've been taught and I've researched for myself, now it is one or two things I've tried to research and I haven't been able to obtain the books. Because a lot of this knowledge, when you really start researching, you'll find that some of these books are so expensive. It's just like going off to college. You probably can't even afford the book. Or a lot of them are out of print and they're not printing them anymore. So if you don't know anybody who have some of these books, then you're just not going to glean that knowledge. It's just like the maps. A lot of people don't believe that the maps have been changed, but they have been. A lot of people don't believe that there's an area of the Grand Canyon that we're not allowed to go in, period. That there are pyramids in the Grand Canyon. A lot of people don't believe. So, you have a right to believe whatever you choose. I think we all came from the same place and from the same people. Let me get back to where I am and let y'all have that conversation, because that's y'all conversation, not mine. Let me go. Where did I stop reading? The ability to bring souls. Okay. I'm going to go back up here a little bit because I think I stopped right here. Okay. It is the woman who has fallen. That's where I want to go. However, the man has no other choice but to fall if she has. He diligently tried to take up the charge. He held ground fiercely, with brute determination to carry out the quest of the mother. She and only she has the ability to bring and teach souls of a higher vibration. Of course, she must be in a higher consciousness herself first. Unfortunately, when she went to sleep, so did he. She stopped teaching him from the womb and sent him out into the world unequipped. Hence, a people cannot rise higher than its women. The woman, where is she today? What is she doing? Women are the ones behind the scenes running institutions, organizations, and associations. She makes all of them work. Churches, hospitals, jails, synagogues, temples, schools, organizations, associations, offices, satellite offices, home offices, central offices, branch offices, etc., etc. Without her support, these institutions would not run. If she has all of this power, and she does, why isn't she cognizant of her own womb power? Why isn't it clear to her that she produces the men and women of society? It is up to her how society is governed. Although she may not be of this, governing principles as children are being raised. Of course, by her failing to do so, she has become the complainer of the very thing she is ultimately in control of. Organizations are put in place to deal with the symptoms of her problem, but not the problem. The women fund and or support those very organizations that are set up to keep her womb enslaved. If she had self-knowledge, she would not continue to support that which is enslaving her and her babies. By doing so, she works against herself. Some of these organizations may have good intentions. However, as dictated in nature, no one raises children better than the mother who brought them here. Mothers have to be more responsible. We have an abundance of mothers who are bringing souls in and not being responsible. These souls have an agenda as well. All that lives wants to live. They come from the door with the struggle to free themselves from the constraints and the already set up institutionalized slavery system, which is designed to have them locked up for most of their life. If not by physical lockup, certainly mentally. Parents must be aware of the conditions they bring their children into and what they are passing on to their children. Most parents don't or won't educate their own children, mainly because the children are looking for some facts, not beliefs, and the parents have not done enough studies on their own to pass correct information to their children. This type of activity is in great part responsible for the children becoming walking time bombs who take out their aggressions on society, as they are a product of society, aren't they? For those of us who blame their condition on slavery and oppression, then cannot put their finger on it, The fact is that slavery is now institutionalized. Upon that recognition, know that the slaveholders are comfortable to see these conditions as it makes their stronghold stronger. So, who is really the subjugated ones? The parents or the children or both? Hey, Angie M. As the condition of the parent, especially the mother, perpetuates the condition of the children and thus the society. Yet, we talk about the condition of the children as if it is disconnected from us as a whole. When children are dying younger and younger, it is a sign of extinction. And the book is She Redeems. And then they said that She Redeems 2 was coming. And that was going to be She Redeems Her Sons to Humanity. And again, it's nothing wrong with belief. But again, if you don't do the homework and understand the politics that run this globe, not just America, then you won't understand, and you're having a conversation of emotion and not of knowledge. That is very true, what is happening all over. But that's because we don't have knowledge of who we are. And as long as we don't have knowledge of who we are, those conversations will be true. They will be real. And I told you from the beginning that all skin folk are not kinfolk. And what we don't understand is the white supremacy system. The people look like us who put us in this condition. But if we don't want to accept that truth and keep wanting to go with the white man, the black man, and we're the only people that use that vernacular because those are legal statuses. It has nothing to do with people. People are known by their nationality, not by their color of their skin. That's the way the few rule many. That's how that happens. My conversation is just for those who are interested in perhaps this could be true. And I'm just going to look into it for myself and see what I find. And after I do all the looking that I've been keys dropped, then what I'll do is make a decision and I'll go from there. Because most of us, we do everything out of our emotions. We don't do stuff out of knowledge. If I ask all of you who have whatever knowledge you have, do you know the politics that run this world? What would your answer be? And I would like for you all to answer, do you know the politics that run this world? The politics. And everything is global. Nothing is autonomous, even though they tell us it is. But what's the politics that run this world? And if you understand that, understand and overstand, then you could possibly hear with ears. But if you don't understand and overstand that, then you'll always have y'all conversations, and I'll just keep, having mine. Okay, so with that being said, and y'all be sure and answer me, what's the politics that run this world? Because that was a question I posed. Do you know the politics that run the world? And this is an important message for women that I'm going to give, and then we're going to be pretty close to closing. This is an important message for women. No nation can rise higher than its women. Nationality is not a belief or something one can either subscribe to or not. It is derived from birth by mother, and therefore everybody has a nationality. Nationality is rooted in divine law and nature's law. In woman, by way of womb, thus native. Therefore, the function, acknowledgement, and reclamation of nationality cannot be experienced, recognized, evolved, or alluded to with honor until woman takes her proper place in society and is free from suppression and dogmatism. The woman has been subjugated by design. The subjugation of the woman came into institutionalization. That's institutionalized social practice by edicts and bulls issued from the Roman Church. Subrogation means to bring under the yoke or into subjection, to bring into bondage or complete subservient submissive control. Down the line in time, they burned the books of the ancient information regarding civilization for civilized people, and eventually for a more closer radius after the Reconstruction era began educating us and our children. Thus, the public educational system has greatly assisted in the now dumbed down education. The public school system was originated to watch children while parents worked in factories. The purpose of it from its onset was not conducive to a pristine education. It was more like a babysitting service. And let's face it, that is what it has come to now. However, it becomes more and more difficult to manage a people or even relate to a people who are lacking in fundamentals which are supposed to be passed down from their mother while in the womb, the first schoolroom, and during the most impressionable years. Most women are not in the home. They are working in the factories. Not that there is necessarily anything wrong with working. However, they have forgotten the principles of the most important factor, the raising of the children who are placed into society to govern themselves and society. That is the concept and purpose of government. Govern the mental. This is not to say let me go back. I went too far. Okay, this is not to say that there ought not be institutions of learning, of refinement, of mental faculties, and development of the being. The question to ask is who is governing your mental and the mental of your children? The Inquisitionists pseudo-religiously impose unconsciousness of the woman is key to maintaining the subjugation of the nation and the denial of the nation's nationality and birthrights. One of the things that I remember about Donald Trump, the man that everybody loves to hate, I used to like Donald Trump before he ever got into what I knew to be politics. I just liked him when he was married to his first wife. I thought they were a cute couple, and I liked them just because they looked cute, and they were rich and famous. Knew nothing about what he believed, how he treated his tenants, knew none of that stuff, and still don't. But one of the things that I noticed when he became president, he was the first president that I ever seen go to any country to give a speech where he didn't talk about the birthrights of the people and the sovereignty of the people. Like him or not, he was talking about some stuff we've never been talked about. We've never been taught. There are some of us, I'm sure, but as a race of people, we have not been taught birthright, nativity, and nationality. We've not been taught those things. And when you're missing a key element of what it takes to be a part of a society that you can compete in, you stay on the farm with all the other animals. No matter how high up you go, no matter what degree you possess in this land, you still can get in a car and a police can get behind you and you will almost have a heart attack, if not an accident, or you may not come home. That's not in every circumstance, but in a lot of circumstances. And most of us, even women, are now afraid. We used to didn't have that innate fear when the police got behind us, but now they're pulling grandmothers out of cars and they're arresting them on the side of the road or doing strip searches on the side of the road. So we can think what we like, believe what we like, but if we're going to seek knowledge and truth, we must do that for ourselves. You can't do it for me or because I say it's so. All I can do is give you the keys, and then you go and do the research. It's good to hear people talk, but I'm still waiting for anybody to answer the politics that they know that rules the globe. What do you know it to be? It's interesting. I'd like to hear the answer. Okay. The Inquisitionists pseudo-religiously imposed unconscious of the woman is key to maintaining the subjugation and the denial of the nation's nationality and birthrights. Pseudo-religion is the suppression of civilization and the propagation of idol god worship and the mental suppression tactical usages of fear, guilt, and superstition. And Stevie Wonder told us, superstition, very superstitious, writing on the wall. If you believe in things that you don't understand and you suffer, superstition ain't the way. The suppression continues due to woman's lack of knowledge of self. As an example, by her not knowing that the true meaning of religion means the study of the stars, she continues to force herself and her children to practice pseudo-religion, which is designed to suppress civilization. If she were If she were knowledgeable, she would not subject her children to pseudo-religion. She would be in tune with her nature, thus know that each energy child she brings into physical manifestation has a purpose, and she would never use terms such as a generation gap, because she would know that what influences the child she brings in is based on the cycles of energy at the time of the conception and throughout the pregnancy and birth. She would know the child and be able to bend their inclinations at a young age towards their purpose, instead of wondering what the child will become. The child is who it is from conception. When one pays close attention and listens carefully, a child will tell you who they are and who they are not. I don't know. Is that money is supposed to be the answer? Is that supposed to be the answer to the question I asked the politics of the world? Is that what it is? Is that the answer? Money? I see you, FRW, but I see what Lord King answered, and I see Madria agree. Oh, okay, okay. So then let me ask the second question. What is money? Can you all tell me what money is? I did a video on it, but can y'all tell me what money is? Okay, Lord King say power. Okay. Maria said a way to control everybody, if you ask me. Are you saying money is a way to control everybody? I'm asking what is money? And so, Maria, you saying a way to control everybody, if you ask me? Okay, I got you. Lord King says the wealthy group up together. Now, okay. Her consciousness is why a higher consciousness of nationality and birthrights has not been I guess that's coalesced in the early years of the Moorish movement or of the freedom movement, association, organization, etc. Bree, let me see what you said. Politics in the front and put people in power to indoctrinate and control the lives of us. The agenda is to be heard our mentality. Okay. All of the beings who are/were involved in those social political associations came from her. And if she is not aware that society is a matriarch and not a patriarch, she teaches that to her daughters and her sons. Most institutions and associations were founded with patriarchal mindsets. Let us clear up some confusion regarding the matriarch patriarch. Phyllis said silver and gold. Okay, I can agree with that. Something that most of us don't possess. something that most of us don't possess. Just you can take some notes if you want to. You don't have to. You don't have to, but if you just take some notes and then follow what I'm reading and what I've learned and start researching it for yourself, then maybe you can see if you can even give an idea to what I'm saying. Whether you agree or not, that's up to you. But this is just a way to look at something a little different. That is true. Money is fiat, and fiat is an accounting system. That's the truth of the matter. It's an accounting system, and we don't understand that. But for those who have ears, let them hear. For those who have eyes, let them see. And then seek for yourself and see what knowledge comes to you. This is a real teaching here, especially to women that are mothers who didn't know to tell these things to our children in the womb, but we have grandchildren. Some of us are helping to bring into the world, meaning that we have to take care of them and they're going to be coming home to us. So if we have daughters or daughter-in-laws that are with child, we can talk to them and have conversation with them. And therefore, we can try to help change some of this stuff around in the way that we can do it. And it's not going to come by power. It's not going to come by might. It's going to come by action. And we're going to have to take the action. I have my little old saying, the AAA. And the AAA is, first we got to accept what the issues really are for whoever you are. And then you got to acknowledge that there are issues. And if you don't want to acknowledge there are issues, then it's going to be almost impossible for you to take the next step. Because the next step, you have to accept the issues that you've confronted. And once you accept that issue, then you have to act upon that issue. So you have to acknowledge, accept, and then take action. And that's the same with our learning. We got to get back to reading. A person who can read and doesn't read is no better than the person who can't read and want to read. Reading is fundamental. Many things are hid in the book. This book that I showed y'all, this book here, Mirror to More, Kemet Until Now. This is showing you the etymology, the phrenology, the semantics, and the morphology of the word more. And it was written by Cosmo L. And it's just telling you how things morphed into being. You probably can't see that too good, but because it's small. But it's just showing you how the alphabets evolved and what they looked like. Very interesting read. Fair use. Very interesting read. Very interesting. And we have no clue. Most of us have no clue about any of this. So how can we even begin to say we understand what we understand? We don't even know how things came to be. We don't even know about the Punic Wars and the Crusades and the Spanish Inquisition. We don't know. And if you don't have knowledge of those things, then you're missing out on a lot of things. A lot of things. And I have the Black's Law Dictionary that all anybody has to do is send me an email. And I see I don't have my banner rolling and strolling down here. Or do I? No, I don't. I don't know if that's too little for you guys to see, but that's if you want documents and books that I have free of charge. All you have to do is send an email and I will send it to you. Until you learn really how to study, because most of us don't really know how to study, and until you learn how to study and what to study, we'll forever be trapped in senseless arguments that we don't have to have, because we don't have to have arguments at all. What we could do is just start acquiring knowledge. And knowledge is for the individual. You know, it is written that my people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge. And then we were taught that the fall of man came because they ate off of the tree of knowledge, which could be true coming from the same place. There's something wrong with that story, but it's the way the story is told. We don't question it. And we haven't learned to question things that we don't really comprehend. You know, one thing in law, they will ask you a question, do you understand? That word alone is known to most as a legalese. And a legalese is, we're saying the same word, but there are different meanings for that word in law and in the everyday life. Do you understand? Meaning, do you stand under my authority? And I understand it has to do with jurisdiction, because most of us have no knowledge of jurisdiction. And I say most, not all. There are some very, very, very knowledgeable people on this app, way more knowledgeable than me. I'm only sharing the knowledge that I've acquired, that I comprehend, and that I ascribe to, and that I study, and that I share with whomever will listen. It's up to you to do the research and come to your conclusion. I'm a very passionate person, and I get very passionate about it because I was that way all of my life and didn't have a clue on life. But I have a semblance of an idea of what's going on in life today, and that's why I stand in the truth that I stand and do what I do, no matter who think it's fake, false, or phony. I'm in federal court because of what I've learned. I'm not in federal court under what someone that calls themselves a Moor would do, because I don't know all of that. I haven't studied that deep, and I don't do anything halfway. I am a Moorish American. That's my pedigree, my bloodline. I am Asiatic. That's my nationality. I live here in the North Gate, which is the Moroccan Empire. We don't understand how we were separated from the land, so we put everything on the land in the name that it's been given. The United States is a corporation. Each state is autonomous, and it is a country of itself. Each state with its own constitution. If you don't know that, you don't have to believe it. You don't have to wonder it. You can research it. And it is written for you to know. That's why ignorance of the law is no excuse. It's written for us to know, but we won't read it. They said we can't give legal advice. We can't represent someone in a court of law. They didn't say we couldn't learn the knowledge. It's written in books. And they are very expensive books. But they're open to the public. All you have to do is purchase them. or go to the library. Take your pen and paper, read them, take notes. Some stuff is not rocket science. And it's not, brain surgeon science or heart surgeon science. Some stuff is just simple reading and knowing the words in which you read, because words are very important. Words are very important. And that's why a scholar or an adept person, they will actually choose their words wisely. Very interesting stuff. Good night, Jade. Thank you. So then it goes on to say, all of the beings who are and were involved in the social political associations came from her. And if she is not aware that society is a matriarch and not a patriarch, she teaches that to her daughters and her sons. Most institutions and associations were founded with patriarchal mindsets. Let us clear up some confusion regarding the matriarch and patriarch. If anyone tells you that there exists or will exist a matriarch and a patriarch, clearly they don't know what a matriarch is. The patriarch does not include the woman in her proper position. She is usually depicted as someone inferior or insubordinate. The matriarch, however, naturally includes him, ma, son. Ma and son equals Mason. Anyone who denies the nationality is a suppressor of women. It is the Inquisitionists' intent to use mental warfare methodologies to separate and divide men against women. See Willie Lynch letter. And I don't know if y'all heard of that. Some say the CIA created it. Some say it was written way back in the 1800s. Whenever it was, if you read the letter, you can understand the psychology of the letter, because that's what you're reading for. The working of the mind in the letter. That's what you're reading for. The birth certificates, which are bonds issued by the states, are collateral instruments, mortgages, and are a deceptive method that places the children in bondage. Child service agencies are able to chattel the children at will. At the point of creation of these adhesion contract instruments, the children are robbed from you by the corporate state and are enslaved as fictitious. Some people will label these teachings as misinformation. It is amazing to me when I'm learning from my lawsuit, they tell me that Google is filing to dismiss them from the lawsuit using the ATA, the Anti-Terrorist Act, 230, Section 2 through 230. And that says that they're not the publisher or the speaker of what a content creator says or does. But then on the other hand, they will create a policy that tells me and anyone like myself that I can dictate what you say because it's categorized as misinformation. And then you ask yourself, then who makes the determination on what misinformation is if in fact you're not the publisher or the speaker of whatever the person is saying, and you're not the lawyer or the attorney or the heart surgeon or the what is it, neuroscientist, or so, we really can get lost in words and in translation, but you understand that you're dealing with the system and you work in the confines and live in the confines of the system at peace with all men. That's what you do your best to do, because you're not going to buck the system and be successful, but you can be successful working in the confines of the system once you understand the rules of engagement. And in all situations, there are going to be losers and there's going to be winners. So you're not going to lose it all and you're not going to win them all. There is a balance. There is a balance. But if you don't show up and put in the work, then you can't even enter the ring of the fight. You can't. At the point of creation of these adhesion contract instruments, the children are robbed from you by the corporate state and are enslaved as fictitious strawman corporate entities. These instruments are used as collateral through negotiable bank bonds for corporate profit. These bonds are systemically fractionalized to create greater profits. This creates the massive deficit. This is institutionalized, bureaucratized enslavement. The fact that many are becoming conscious has contributed greatly to the fall of the corporations. The fall of the democracy of which we have thought is the power of the proper governmental authority, when it is not. It is, as it states, democrat inferior. It is stated in the supreme law of the land, Constitution. The supreme law is guaranteed as a republic, which is a matriarch form of government. That's what it's about. Regarding the children are held as ward property, deemed as state property under wardship tenures. The children are claimed by the foreign fictitious corporate entity called the state. That's the colony, the colonists. The states are the bondholders of titles, birth records, certificates, marriage certificates, driver's license, etc., as negotiable bond holdings, binding you and your child as the lienee, a lien. And I suggest that people just read and learn for themselves, because I know a lot of people that says that they have read and learned so much of this that I'm talking of, and they know how to do this and how to do that. And what you come to find out, that all those people that are telling you that are selling you a pipe dream. I've yet to see anybody really help anybody do anything. There's a man told me he was going to help me get the title to my car. And once I gave him my information, unbeknownst to me, that he was going to turn around and tell me, well, I do charge. What? First he was uplifting fallen humanity. I can't work with anybody like that, because the principles that he professed to live by is love, truth, freedom, justice, and peace. That's what he said he stood for. But it was deception when you didn't tell me that you charged. And then the price is so exorbitant that you don't even know if I can afford that. But if you did what you said you could do, then it would be flowing like the land of milk and honey. So I found not that a workman is not worthy of his hire, because a workman is. Excuse me. But if you start doing some of the work yourself and learning these things that these people say that they got in there, and they learned this and they read this, USC 15, 361, and they read that and they read this, and this is what they've done and this is how it works. We all say we want to help each other, and then on the other hand, we say, well, I can't tell you what I did until you give me, $5,000. But what's the difference in you saying that you need to do this, but you don't have the money to pay the lawyer $5,000? We both charging $5,000, and you're paying for what you don't know. So if you seek the knowledge, and what you have to do is what I have to do. You may not have to do this, but I have to read over and over and over and over until I comprehend. Because a lot of times I'm reading, I'm not comprehending the first 2 or 3 times. And sometimes after 10 times, I don't. And I have to step back and go back and make sure I have my dictionaries available with me right there while I'm reading. Because anytime you get to a word that you don't know, then you should stop and learn the definition of that word so it will make sense within the context of what you're reading. In the conclusion of this reading, this deceptive activity occurs with your unconscious actions through your unknowing yet willing consent. If women, I'm going to say women, are seriously concerned about their children's well, must, yes, however, the first action taken is to not utilize the chattel bondage instrument, which gives them the contractual right to chattel your children. Yet, the birth certificate is not really a contract. It does not pass the definition of a lawful contract. So to stop using it, it is important. By claiming a nationality voids the contract, although many may want to dissolve it in writing, as it is a corporate commercial instrument. By continuing to use it, you are agreeing and making it valid upon you and your child by your own admission. The children are out there without the protection of principles of civilization. And before you took any of those measures, I would really implore you to read the information that they read to get to this degree of knowledge. And so you would need to definitely go to the dictionary and look up these words, nationality. You have to do it as simple as that. You have to break everything down. Go to the older dictionaries. The older dictionaries give you more information than the newer ones, like the ones in 1928 and 1950s and 1800s, if you can find them. In some of the places that I found, my older dictionaries have been at the half-price bookstore. And I don't know if every state has a half-price bookstore, but you may have something equivalent to that where they sell old books. People turn in their old books and they sell them. Okay, let's see. By continuing to use it, you are agreeing to make it valid upon you and your child by your own admission. The children are out there without the protection of principles of civilization, without honoring their mothers and fathers by name and principle. Thus, they are branded as property of the state, since they seem not to belong to any part of the human family, which is always identified by and as a nationality. Women must claim their nationality because the condition of the mother determines the condition of the child. Women need to have knowledge of birthrights. After all, they give birth. Becoming familiar with some of the national and international documents which have already addressed and recognized this issue may help with understanding and offer support to you regarding the issue. It does not mean that those institutions are in control of the fact or that you have to be a member of that or a member of them. It means they have recognized it and have so stated that which is ancient principles of civilization. So whether they wrote them as national documents or not, the principles of divine law and civilization exist and have always existed. Upon reviewing some of those documents, such as the Universal Declaration of the Rights of the Child, and you can Google these and look them up, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights and the Rights of Indigenous People, one would see in the preambles that they were written to be disseminated into public schools and other public institutions. However, with their faith in idol gods and idol god worship, patriarchal mindsets, and other degenerating factors, they perish, and the children perish, and the nation perish, and humanity perish, all on the shoulders of her. Note, prior to reading the below international community supports, it is important to know that if the international community never wrote any of them or supported the lawful or political fact of them, it is still and remains as facts, because these are supports of that which is. It is also to note, for example, the right to change a nationality was not originally for Moors. It is for the modern Europeans and immigrants and those who gave up their nationality to come to America, namely via Ellis Island. Today, they realize they too have no nationality or sovereignty and must claim their own. That is why they are expatriating by the droves from being a corporate United States citizen. Moors, however, cannot ever expatriate, as by law, they could never be citizens. Hold on. It's hard getting this thing to go in between when the paragraphs have such big gaps in between pages. Okay, it says, as by law, they could never be citizens of the United States of America, the USA, US, etc. Moors need only to be themselves first, to know themselves, and then be what they know, which is being themselves. Number 1, consider thou art a parent, the importance of thy trust, the being thou hast produced, it is thy duty to support. Okay, number 2, upon thee also it dependeth whether the child of the bosom be a blessing or a curse to thyself, and useful or a worthless member to the community. Number 3, prepare him early with instruction and season his mind with the maxims of truth. Watch the bent of his inclinations. Set him right in his youth, and let no evil habit gain strength with his years. Number 5, so shall he rise like a cedar on the mountains. His head shall be seen above the trees of the forest. Number 6, A wicked son is a reproach to his father, but he that doeth right is an honor to his gray hairs. Number 7, the soil is thine own. Let it not want cultivation. The seed which thou sowest, that also shall thou reap. Number 8, teach him obedience, and he shall bless thee. Teach him modesty, and he shall not be ashamed. Number 9, teach him gratitude, and he shall receive benefits. Teach him charity, and he shall gain love. Number 10, teach him prudence, and fortune shall attend him. Teach him temperance, and he shall have help. Number 11, teach him benevolence, and his mind shall be exalted. Teach him diligence, and his wealth shall increase. Number 18, teach him science, and his life shall be useful. Teach him religion, and his death shall be happy. And that is what I want us to focus on as we go through the days. If there was anything or any part that I said that you guys could possibly use, please research and make your own decision and your own conclusion. Everything that happens for either one of us, it happens because we as an individual put in the work to make it happen. You know, we were taught, thank goodness, right from wrong, and we try to exercise that in our daily walks. We know there are many people that do not do that, and we have to navigate around those people. Asador said, my bad, been on the phone getting an update on a 16-year-old kid, a point guard with a bright future from Crenshaw High School, was killed last night. That is so sad. I tell you, it's happening everywhere. And I know that that is very sad, Asador. You have my condolences. Because I know when you know these children and interact with them, they become a part of you. Demetrius, I hope that I said greetings to you and thank you for engaging in the conversation. I love it when everybody engages. It makes it really good for us all because we all have knowledge and we have good points, and we help each other over here. This is a place where you can share, whether we agree or not. As I stated before, I don't agree to disagree. I just disagree and move on. But one thing I love about truth is it has a way of dealing with us when we're alone in our alone time. So if it's not spoken, then it can't be heard. But if it can be heard, then that's a thought that one could ponder. And then it's something that they can also go and research for themselves. Briex Lemetri said, Asador, my condolences to the family. Briex said, as it's atrocious. The killings are becoming increasingly scary worldwide. And Lemetri said, unnecessary killings. Asador said he was leaving a high school party and got shot and left to die on the street. So sad. Sad. R.I.P. young man is what Briex said. And Angie put up emojis of condolences. Praying. Yeah, it's so sad. Those things are happening almost daily. A young lady that my nephew used to date, her son, unfortunately, was shot down at work. An ex-co-worker came back to the job, and the people were walking out for lunch, and they don't know the storyline behind it, but he targeted, appears, that young man because he's the only one that was shot, and killed him at work on lunch, an ex co-worker. So it's happening everywhere. That's why we got to start looking at other ways of trying to change our current condition and our current situation. All that I've learned from being who I am and knowing who I am today is that there is another way. Although I understand who runs this system, and I even understand why they run the system the way they do. But I still believe if we come into who we are as people and exercise human rights, that we can coexist. There's no longer a us against them. There's no longer a division. We're operating from the same, as I guess Skinny would say, playbook. But we're operating from the same rules of engagement and not the indoctrination of one group of people. Even if we don't have the money, the silver, the gold, the Federal Reserve note, the fiat system of banking, even if we don't possess any of that, we have morals and values. And from everything I heard that I read tonight, it speaks on shaping your child when they're yet in your womb, so you can speak life to your child, and their life can be more abundant. You as a mother can be in a state of peace. It determines who your child is and who your child will be. And again, I also read that your child tells you who they are and who they are not. And we love when our children are small and communicate with us certain things, and then we actually see them grow up to fulfill the thing they told us when they were babies. And I don't know a mother yet. I haven't had a mother tell me that, when I put this little fella or this little girl down and they were running around the house and they were playing, and they said, Mom, when I grow up, I want to be a dope fiend. I want to be an alcoholic. I want to be a murderer. I want to be a robber. I don't know any mothers. There could be some somewhere that have their children tell them that, but I don't know any. It's all predicated on the conditions in which we live. That's what I've found. I don't know. It's so disheartening and so sad. I'm just dropping this down. It just make you want to lament forever for these babies. It just makes you want to lament and never stop for these babies. But we know it is what it is. There's nothing that we can do but try to make our world a little different and spread that to others as we get an opportunity to share. Maybe on purpose, do something for somebody. On purpose, smile at somebody who look like they can use a smile, or speak to someone who looks like they need to hear a voice. I don't really advise touching people because you don't know what people have gone through in their lives, and some people it's very traumatic for people to touch them um, unless you get permission. It's not wise to just touch people. And then some people don't want some people energy interacting with them. So you don't know the energy that people exude. So you want to be careful with that. But you might go and grab you a breakfast sandwich and just get the person's next to you breakfast sandwich. You never know what people are going through. And it seems like that we're all going through a lot. Asator said if you look up Crenshaw High School, it will come up for the young man, what happened to him. So yeah, we're very sad about that. Very sad about that. But I think that everything went exactly the way I would love for it to go. I hope that you guys enjoyed the subject for today, and I will continue to um, give the information that I've received, I've read, and share it. And hopefully, you will take the information and read it and research. And did you know that you could always, through email the Library of Congress and ask for documents that are spoke of in history, and they will send them to you. And I haven't had to pay, I guess because the things that I've asked for have not been many pages. But you can do that also with your state law library. I know that you can do that in the state of Texas. And so I would suggest you see if you can with your state. It's normally wherever your state capital is, you do the law library, and you can get information on different subjects and any case that has gone through the appeals process. You can get information from that. Bree said the system. Yeah, the system is exactly that. And one thing that we know is true, there has to be some type of system. We understand that dynamic. There has to be some type of system. But we just have to, learn what we can and teach the young before we're no longer here. That's the only thing I know that we can do to help make this world a better place, is to know that there are some things that we were not taught. And so we can go and seek them and teach ourselves. I think that's one of the greatest gifts that we can have, is the ability to read and comprehend whatever it is that we're reading. But this has been a beautiful evening. I've been here longer than I had planned, but I am here, and we're going to get ready to call it a night. I think I've spoken to everyone. I want to say good night to everyone. Enjoy. Look forward to seeing you guys on Wednesday. Until then, have a beautiful evening Asatar, condolences. You know, we give all we can, but we do know that it is written that there is a appointed time for us all. And so what we have to do is go with whatever it is that comfort us in our belief systems and take us where we need to go. I'm going to leave us with that beautiful song again. And on that note, I'm leaving the tiger's den. Good night. I believe the children are our future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. Show them all the beauty they possess inside. Give them a sense of pride to make it easier. Let the children's laughter remind us how we used to be. Everybody's searching for a hero. People need someone to look up to. I never found anyone to fulfill my needs. A lonely place to be. So I learned to depend on me. I decided long ago never to walk in anyone's shadow. If I fail, if I succeed, at least I live as I believe. No matter what they take from me, they can't take away my dignity, because the greatest love of all is happening to me. I found the greatest love of all inside of me. The greatest love of all is easy to achieve. Learning to love yourself is the greatest love of all.